Hey everyone, welcome to day 3 of our percents unit. Today we're going to be talking about markup rates. And just to recap from yesterday, we were looking at markdowns, which were some examples of that were discounts, sale prices, things like that, that decreased the price of an item. Today we're going to be looking at markups, which you may have already realized is going to increase the price of an item. So sometimes stores do that. They will mark up an item to increase the price of the item to increase their profit. Probably one of the most relevant examples is actually right now with this virus going around. So many stores are marking up the price of disinfectants because right now so many people want to buy them, so they figure they're going to increase the price to make more money, which isn't necessarily fair, but it definitely does happen. So in this box on this page, it says a store generally sells an item for more than it pays for those items. The amount of the increase is called the markup, and the selling price is the amount of money the customer pays for an item. So the selling price is the price that we're going to pay as a consumer, but that price is going to be more than the original price of an item. And again, a markup is expressed as a percentage, so we're going to have to find, again, percents of numbers. Now, just like with markdowns, there are going to be other keywords and phrases that tell us we're going to have a markup. So in a word problem, you might just see the word markup, which obviously represents a markup. You might also see something called sales tax. And you guys know if you go to the mall to buy, let's say a pair of jeans, the price of the jeans might be $50 and you bring them to the register, you're not paying exactly $50 for those jeans because you have to pay a sales tax. And that sales tax is increasing the price of an item, which makes it a markup. Another type of markup that you might see outside of school and outside of a classroom is a tip or gratuity. If you've ever gone out to dinner with family or friends, you get the bill, and then on top of the bill, you need to tip your server. That again increases the price of an item. So that's what we're going to be looking at today, markup questions that involve sales tax and tip. So let's dive into this. Number 1 says, a store pays $56 for a GPS navigation system. The markup is 25%. Find the selling price. So the key word here in this question is the fact that the markup is 25%. I know that I am marking up, or I am increasing the price of this GPS by a rate of 25%. So I have to first figure out, well, how much money is this GPS increasing in dollars? Like, what is 25% of 56? So again, I'm finding the percent of a number. And guys, I'm really doing the same 2 steps from yesterday. It's just going to be a slight difference. So my first step is to find out my markup rate as an amount of money in dollars. So I'm finding the percent of a number. So I have to figure out what is 25%. Whoops, my mouse glitched a little bit. Sorry about that. What is 25% of $56? So again, to find the percent of a number, we are multiplying. Before we can multiply, we need to convert that 25% into a decimal, and 25% written as a decimal is 0.25. So 0.25 times 56 is 14. So that tells me that the price of this GPS is going to increase by $14. If something is increasing, that means I have to add that $14 to my original price. So yesterday we were subtracting. Today now we're adding because our price is increasing. It's a markup. The price is going up. So step 2 is to take my original price of my GPS, which is 56, and now I'm adding my markup, which is $14. And then I simply add 56 plus 14 is 70. So the selling price of this GPS system is going to be $70. And that makes sense because the price definitely increased. Originally, the price of the GPS was $56 and now it's $70. So my price definitely went up. This was definitely a markup. Okay, number 2 says, find the selling price of a $62.25 karaoke machine with a 60% markup. Again, the key word there is markup, which tells me that percent is going to be increasing the original price of this karaoke machine. My first step is to determine, hey, what is 60% of $62.25? So I'm again finding the percent of a number. 60% of 62.25. Convert that 60% into a decimal, which is 0.60 or 0.6, and multiply. When I multiply those two numbers together, we should get $37.35. So that tells me the price of this item is going to increase by a total of $37.35. In order to find my selling price, though, I need to add that markup rate to my original price. So my original price, again, was $62.25. And I add my markup rate in dollars, which is $37.35. When I add up those two numbers, we should get 99.6 is what your calculator will tell you. But again, guys, remember we're dealing with money, so you must include that 0 after the 6 because we need 2 digits after the decimal point. Again, I can see that my original price was $62.25 and my price has increased to $99.60. Okay, guys, pause the video and try numbers 3 and 4 on your own and then press play to check your responses. Okay, for number 3, you should have gotten the selling price of the bicycle to be $334.80. Again, we can see that it increased significantly from the original price of $270. And for number 4, you should have gotten the selling price of the painting to be $652.50. Okay. As I mentioned before, a real world markup is sales tax. Just like if you guys go to buy any article of clothing, sneakers, shoes in the mall, you don't pay exactly what the tag says. You have to pay a tax. So it says sales tax is an additional amount of money charged on items that people buy. The total cost of the item is the regular price plus the sales tax. You can find the amount of you can find the amount of tax on an item by multiplying the price of the tax. You can multiply the price by the tax percentage. Okay, so this is where we got to be careful, guys. Just like yesterday, sometimes I'll ask you, hey, just figure out what the tax is going to be. Or I might say, find the total cost of the item. Got to read carefully. So number 1 says, Alonzo wants to buy a new kayak that costs $2,400. But when he buys the kayak, it actually costs more because he lives in a county where there's a 7% sales tax. So this is a 2-step procedure, just like yesterday with discounts when we were finding the selling price. And I broke these questions up into 2 different parts to illustrate the 2 different steps that you have to take. So part A says, how much money is Alonzo paying in sales tax? So for part A, I just need to figure out what is the sales tax amount that he's paying. So I just need to determine what is 7% of 2,400. Okay, so I'm multiplying, but first I have to convert that 7% into a decimal, and 7% as a decimal is 0.07, and then multiply that by 2,400. When we do that, you should get $168. So that $168 is just the amount of the sales tax. Okay, part B now says, well, what is the total cost that he is paying? The total cost that Alonzo's paying is the price of the kayak plus the sales tax. So I have to take the price of the kayak, which is $2,400, and add the sales tax, which is $168. And when I do that, we get $2,568. So that is the total cost of the kayak. Again, notice how the sales tax has increased the price of the kayak, making it a markup. Okay, number 2 says Drew wants to buy exercise equipment that costs $150 and the sales tax is 8%. Part A, how much is Drew paying in sales tax? Okay, guys, again, I just want to know how much money the sales tax is going to be on this item. So I have to determine what is 8% of 150. So simply multiply. Before you do that, please convert 8% into a decimal, which is 0.08, and times that by 150. 0.08 times 150 is $12. So the sales tax on this exercise equipment is going to be $12. Part B, to find the total cost, I have to take the cost of the exercise equipment and add the sales tax. So 150 plus 12, add those together, and we get 162. So the total cost of this exercise equipment is $162. Okay, number 3. For number 3, a little bit different, only because I did not break this question up into 2 parts for you. You have to read carefully and determine if you have to complete both steps or just one step. So number 3 says Brandon bought a notebook for $315. I think that's supposed to say Chromebook, so you can change it to a Chromebook, because I don't know who's paying $350 for a notebook, but who knows? Maybe it's fancy. Okay, so he's buying, let's say, a Chromebook for $315. He paid 5% tax on the Chromebook. What is the total cost that Brandon paid? All right. Key phrases and keywords here. Sales tax, which tells me my price is going to be increasing, and total cost. Since it says the total cost, I need to complete both of those steps. I need to first identify or figure out how much is the sales tax going to be, and then determine the total with the sales tax. So my first step Step 1 is figure out, well, what is 5% of 315? So simply multiply 5% as a decimal times 315, which we should get $15.75. So the sales tax is $15.75. I now have to find the total, which brings me to step 2. I have to take the original cost of my item, which is $315, and add my sales tax. When I add those two numbers together, you should get $330.75, which gives me the total cost of the item. All right, I want you guys to pause the video and try numbers 4 and 5 on your own, and then, of course, press play to check your answers. Okay, number 4, if you completed both steps, you should have found out that the total cost of the computer was $1,908. And for number 9, the total cost for the shoes with sales tax should have been $85.02. Okay, number 6. Number 6 says, Alex takes his dog to be groomed. The fee to groom the dog is $75 plus a 6.5% tax. Part A, how much does it cost for the dog to be groomed? So we got to be careful here for part A, guys. You just recognize that I'm asking you to determine the total. So the sales tax plus the original fee to groom the dog. So I first got to figure out what my sales tax is going to be. I have to figure out what is 6.5% of $75. Now, the 6.5%, some of you might be like, well, why do I have to convert that into a percent if it already is a why do I have to convert that into a decimal if it already is a decimal? It says 6.5. And why, yes, it is a decimal. It's 6.5%. There is still that percent sign after it, guys. So if once you see a percent sign, it's a percent. Like, yes, it's a half of a percent, but it is still a percent. So you still got to convert it into a decimal. You still got to take that decimal point and move it 2 spaces to the left, making 6.5% as a decimal 0.065, and then you're free to multiply that by 75. When you do that, you will get 4.875, which will round to $4.88. That is simply your tax. You then have to take the original fee of $75 and add the $4.88, which gives you $79.80. So that's how much money it costs to groom the dog. Part B then says, if Alex has $80, does he have enough to pay the bill? Well, yeah. Yes, he has enough, and he will get 12 cents change. Okay. Okay, number 7. It says Brianna bought a new chair for $178.90. If the tax rate is 8.5%, then how much did the new chair cost in total? All right, key phrases. Tax rate, which means my price is going to be increasing, so this is a markup. And how much does the new chair cost in total? So I have to complete both steps in order to answer this question. So step 1, figure out how much your tax is going to be. So I got to figure out what is 8.5% of $178.90. Again, I know you see 8.5 and you think it's a decimal. Do I still need to convert it into a decimal? Yes. The answer is yes, because you have a percent sign after that. So you still have to move that decimal 2 spaces to the left, making this 0.085 times $178.90. When you do that, you will again have to round, and your tax will be $15.21. Then to determine your total, take the original cost of the chair and simply add your tax, which will give you $194.11. Okay, again, pause the video and try 8, 9, and 10 on your own, and then check your responses. Okay, number 8, you should have determined that the total cost of the iPad was $114.45. Number 9, you should have determined that the total cost of the meal was $12.10. And number 10, the total cost for the scooter was $97.60. Okay. Last type of markup for today is a tip or gratuity. Gratuity means the same thing as a tip. And it's just a small amount of money in return for a service. And the total price is going to be the regular price of the service plus the tip. So my example I gave before was if you've ever gone out to dinner, the waiter or waitress will present you and your families with the bill, which tells you the total cost of all the food and drinks that you guys had. But then you need to tip a amount on top of that, which increases the total price that you are spending. So we have to do the same procedures. We'll have to figure out the cost of the tip and then figure out the cost of the total by adding. But again, we got to read carefully because sometimes I'll ask you to determine, well, how much are you tipping? How much are you spending in a tip? Or what is the total cost? So number 1 says a customer wants to tip 15% on a restaurant bill that's $35. What will be the total bill with tip? Well, again, key phrases are tip 15%, which I know is going to be a markup. And what is the total bill? So again, since it says total, I have to complete both of those steps. So my first step is to determine, well, what is 15% of $35? How much money am I tipping this waiter or waitress? So step 1, figure out what is 15% of $35. 15% as a decimal is 0.15 times 35. When I do that, we should get $5.25. So $5.25 is the amount of money you were leaving this waiter or waitress as a tip. But again, we got to figure out the total. So the total is going to be the cost of the bill plus the tip amount. And when I add that together, we should get $40.25. So the total price that you are spending in this restaurant is $40.25. Okay, number 2 says Scott wants to tip his taxi cab driver 20%. If his commute costs $15, what is the total cost? Again, keywords. He wants to tip his taxi cab driver 20%, and what is the total? So I know I got to complete both steps. I first got to figure out, well, how much am I tipping this taxi cab driver? So you got to determine what is 20% of 15. 20% as a decimal, 0.20, times that by 15, and you should get $3. To figure out the total, take the cost of his commute, which is 15, and add the tip amount, which is 3, and you will get his total cost to be $18. All right, guys, pause the video and try numbers 3 and 4 on your own. Okay, number 3, you should have determined that the total amount of the bill with tip was $32.20. And for number 4, This didn't say tip here, it said gratuity, but again, gratuity and tip are the same exact thing. So the total amount of the bill with tip or with gratuity was $50.74.